110 million years old dinosaur mummy found. It has apparently been hailed as the best preserved dinosaur specimen ever found by scientists. You cannot see its bones as a result. They still have their armor and skin intact. The remnants appear to have been present for only a few weeks or so, even though this dinosaur died more than 110 million years ago. This fossilized nodosaur was discovered by mistake by several miners in Canada. Despite being more than 110 million years old, the skin patterns are still clearly discernible. The Royal Tyrrell Museum of Paleontology, which is situated in Alberta, Canada, and recently announced the discovery, provided this information. The dinosaur is so beautifully preserved that we might very reasonably refer to it as a dinosaur mummy rather than a fossil. The find's practically unheard before level of presentation shocked the researchers who were studying it. Surprisingly, the animal's skin, armor, and even some of its guts were still intact. They had never even seen anything like that before. 6 years separated the dinosaur's discovery and its arrival at the museum, which is a lot less time than the 110 million years that had elapsed since its mortality in the early Cretaceous period. The early Cretaceous climate and habitat of the dinosaur in early Cretaceous Alberta would have been similar to that of modern-day Florida. A miner in Alberta who discovered the dinosaur immediately contacted museum staff. Even its construction resembled that of a tank. It was a large four-legged herbivore belonging to the relatively recent species known as the nodosaur, shielded by a spiky armor. It weighed somewhere about 3,000 pounds. The fact that this mummified nodosaur still weighs an astounding 2,500 pounds should give you an idea of how intact it is. When it was alive, the dinosaur, a kind of ankylosaur, weighed more than a ton, yet based on the appearance of the contents of its stomach, it was a plant-eating monster and preferred ferns. A soccer ball-sized section of it resembles the stomach. The museum team recovered this stomach from the mummified nodosaur, and it is by far the best preserved dinosaur stomach found to date. Finding a dinosaur's authentic preserved stomach contents is extremely rare. This nodosaur was very particular about what it ate. The stomach's contents were compared to similar era and region fossil leaf research. The nodosaur largely avoided the typical cycad and conifer leaves in favor of the delicate leaves of certain ferns. 48 pollen and spore microfossils, including moss and liverwort, 26 club mosses and ferns, 2 blossoming plants, and 13 conifers, were found in total. How the dinosaur mummy managed to stay so intact for so long, though, is still a mystery. The nodosaur may have been swept away by a flooded river or perhaps taken out to sea, where it eventually sank to the ground, according to researchers. Even the 5.5-meter Nodosaur borealipelta Mark Mitchellii has been given a name in honor of Mark Mitchell, the museum's technician. But how realistically lifelike is the specimen? A block of the granite that surrounded the fossil that weighed $15,000 was reduced to size, but when lifted, it broke. When the pieces arrived at the museum, they were encased in plaster. Over the course of more than 7,000 hours, the fossil preparation lab labored to separate the skin and bone from the surrounding rock. It seems that the preservation was so exceptional that scientists were even able to determine the color of the dinosaur's skin by just employing mass spectrometry methods to find any genuine pigments. They discovered that the hue of the Nanosaurus was a dark reddish-brown on top and a lighter shade on the underside. Being a herbivore, the dinosaur's skin must have been crucial in defending it from the large carnivores that were around at the time. In reality, the historic find of the Nanosaur had been made by an unwitting excavator operator who had been busy digging in an oil sands mine. Approximately 7,000 arduous hours of rebuilding later, according to claims that the museum later made public, this dinosaur was prepared to meet the public. The dinosaur mummy is highly uncommon in that it was actually preserved in 3 dimensions with the original shape of the animal conserved, which is even more remarkable than the preservation of the armor, skin and guts. The discovery, according to museum specialists, marks a substantial improvement in our understanding of the design of dinosaur armor because it is the most complete specimen yet found. Chemical traces on the armor may also disclose details about the dinosaur's color, which could reveal details about how attractive and mating displays to draw the attention of the opposing gender.